You are tuned in to a Fireside chat with Zany Mystic. Join us now on another exciting metaphysical journey. Relax, tune in, drop out, and take a seat by the fire as we explore new realms and possibilities. This is Magenta Pixie. You can find me at magentapixie.weebly.com. But now, here is Zany Mystic and guest. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, and welcome to a Fireside Chat with Zany Mystic. I am your host, Lance White. Tonight, I'm delighted to welcome back a good friend, Daniel Jacob. Daniel is best known as a conscious channel for the Reconnections. He is a visionary writer, bioenergy body worker, who leads seminars and empowers us to remember. One of his websites, www.reconnections.net, contains a multi-dimensional galaxy of metaphysical information. His other group, www.thestarchildren.com, focuses on the new kids with metahuman consciousness referred to as star children, indigos, crystals, rainbows, and psychic children, and other. This website offers a haven for self-discovery and exploration. He is the father of two sons, both in their 30s, and lives in the greater Seattle area of Washington. So let's welcome Daniel to the show now and find out what's happening, and I love this part, in the Danielverse. Hi, Daniel, how are you?
Hi, Zany. It's so fun to be back with you. It's been a while.
Yeah, well, you know, I was looking at the date. It's been almost precisely 1 year to the day. Give or take a few days. Yeah.
Well, I think we'll just have to call this our yearly checkup.
Yes, doctor.
I was thinking more like you checking up on me.
Well, let's check up on each other.
There you go. There you go. I was thinking when you said multi-dimensional gallery of information, I'm thinking, I hope I don't have to pay all the ISP fees for those different dimensions. I've only been getting a bill for one, so...
Well, good. Good. Although it seems that there is kind of this shift, well, not shift, there's kind of a rush to grab as many pieces of the pie as possible, and the corporations presently seem to be winning that battle. But I think that's just part of the process of the old things falling apart.
Well, in essence, you know, they're trying to grab hold of what they consider to be valuable, and they're discovering that a lot of the things we've placed most of our emphasis on and made our priority is actually that which gets destroyed and put in disarray the quickest. And many of the things that we've overlooked, like deep friendship, being there for each other, and so on and so forth, are now beginning to emerge as the real gold and silver in the chest of life's experience.
Yeah.
So as people are going more inside and finding out the connection to that voice within, even as I did back in '91 when I began to make connection with my guides, the Reconnections, I began to understand that there's so much more to me than I'd ever looked at. And that's true of the entire world, because, you know, each of our universes, each of our worlds is simply a hall of mirrors for parts of ourselves that we hadn't noticed or hadn't been aware of, and all of a sudden here it is before us, and wow, you know, it can really be an eye-opener.
No kidding. I listened to one of the radio shows that you did recently. You've been doing quite a few radio shows, it looks like, over the past year or so, haven't you?
Well, you know, I've been blessed. So Gwen Mayer and I did a wonderful, had an experience this last year from March to about the end of the year, or actually to just before Thanksgiving. We did a blog talk radio show called Gateways to 2012, and we had an opportunity to do a lot of chatting about the current energies and the energies that are opening up all around us. And then there have been lots of folks like yourself who had heard about the work and had taken interest in what I was doing and invited me to come on, particularly talking about the new kids and so on and so forth. And we've had just some wonderful, wonderful chats. about all sorts of things, because, you know, everything is becoming new, you know. And
yeah.
so there's so much to chat about.
Well, yes. Well, I'm particularly fascinated by the gateways to 2012. That would make a nice segue into, you know, what the energies are now, how they've been shifting, and maybe talking about the Ascension process or whatever it is that you would like to share about.
Absolutely. You know, the Ascension process has, the guides once said in a transmission that Ascension is just not about us going up. It's about that which we have considered to be up, coming down as well. Mm-hmm. And so the old ancient alchemical adage of as above, so below, as within, so without, all the various permutations of that same concept, basically pointing us back into the idea of universal oneness, is really playing itself out now when we consider things as visitations by star visitors, what people think of as other planets or even other dimensions. When they talk about connections with gods, goddesses, archetypes, angels, lots of the art, media, movies, and so on, emphasizing the idea of contact with these extraterrestrial, extra-human type situations. And then particularly when we get into various productions that bring us back to the idea of discovering the divinity within ourselves. And that, you know, movies like The Da Vinci Code, for example, when this young girl is taken on a wild goose chase all over Europe and ends up finding out that she's the last living descendant of Jesus Christ, and the royalty of all that, you know. Yeah. It brought back the idea of when we discover really who we are at all the various levels, it's almost a shock to the system.
Well, especially when so much of who we are has been intentionally concealed and altered or covered up.
Yes, indeed. We have a big market going on right now in talking about conspiracy theories and conspiracies that governments and various individuals have against telling us the full truth about who we are and what we've been doing all this time. And I once brought through a transmission called The Conspiracy of One, where we began to realize that in each of our universes, the primary conspirator is ourselves, the creators of that universe, by first of all telling ourselves that we are many instead of one, that those people out there are separate from me, that I'm either more than or less than anything I see. And so coming to the realization that I've been conspiring against myself so that I would be playing this grand game called separation. Yeah. It's it's a shock when it comes to our realization, and those shocks are being portrayed as everything from weather disruptions to earthquakes and boy, earthquakes are right up on the screen right now. And all the way down to what we call Ascension symptoms, or I use the phrase global acceleration syndrome. We once were at a convention where we said, got gas, GAS, global acceleration syndrome.
Yeah, I do have gas.
We all do at times. Where we have this list of symptoms that have become pretty classic up till now, spaciness, tiredness, achiness in the bones and joints, insomnia, or the need to sleep a lot, numbness and tingling in various parts of the body, just all kinds of symptoms implying some kind of a new channeling of energy in and around the body. And, of course, people will go to the doctors or their various practitioners, and if they can get a diagnosis to fix that, and that seems to suffice for the moment, then I'm all for it. I'm in support of it. you might say the global acceleration syndrome is the diagnosis that has no diagnosis. It's sort of like what you begin believing in about yourself when all the other options for changing the moment are no longer viable. And then you start to say, maybe I'm the one who's changing.
Yeah, definitely. It seems that this could have something to do with our DNA being altered.
Yeah.
And rewiring as well, because the body, that, as I understand it, isn't really sufficiently wired to accept frequencies that are beyond its normal range.
Yes, there are bodies, there are universes that are, we might say, wired for 110, and then there are some that go for 220 or more.
Or more, yes.
And a lot of people are asking about 2012, what is the significance of 2012? And one of the best explanations I heard recently with a transmission from BASHAR, channeled by Darryl Anka, where he described 2012 as being sort of the breaking point between when the mass consciousness finally discovers, or the waking point of the breaking point, so to speak, when more people are awake than are asleep. Not to say everybody would be awake, but it's sort of like a event horizon where once you get on the other side of this line, there's an emphasis more on positivity than there would be on negativity and doubt, And I thought that was a wonderful emphasis on it, because in truth, we've been told in all the ancient writings that you can never know the day or the time of the exact moment when everything's going to change for you. You can think you do.
Right.
But in most instances, it comes, as they say, as a thief in the night.
Right, right.
And which is good, because I'd rather be, doing what I do right up to the moment of translation. And then I have a full experience of what was, and I have a more exciting experience of what's about to be.
Well, I tend to agree with you on that one. And of course, the idea being that we will know and I prefer to think that it will be dramatic enough that I will know that something has happened, and that, I do know how to make a separation between what's happened and what is now. Yeah.
And so everybody will have their own particular version of it. And, for example, we did an article or a transmission in the on Reconnections.net called "What's Ahead for the Planet Earth," and basically the focus there was along the line of they call it like a vase that's been thrown against the wall and broken into a whole multiplicity of shards, and each one of the pieces becomes a universe unto itself.
Wow.
And the wall being an example of whatever that dividing line is, that breaking point, where your commitment to and belief in the linear flow and congruity of the old way, and you're breaking open to the possibilities and the endless choices of the new. Instead of believing in the past, the present, and the future, to begin to move beyond the idea of time and time flow, knowing that a lot of these linear pictures are only inventions of the mind, and that Stephen Hawking was the one who got us thinking about the idea of remembering the past, and that it's possible to turn around the sequence of things so that future is past and past is future, and we can put it in the mixed master of time and space and have it come up any way we want. And that doesn't necessarily mean the ego is going to be completely in control. Because the ego, one of the purposes of the ego was to be the person who had forgotten how the movie came out, so that's the part of the Oneself that gets to be surprised. So what they say, why does God continually make different kinds of universes? So that he can fragment